Hi guys, and welcome back to the channel. Today we're talking about Leica and how this little camera here changed me as a photographer. Let's go. In 2022 I bought a Leica out of nothing. I knew nobody who was shooting with Leica. I had no connection to Leica. I just thought they looked so beautiful. I was a big fan of the Fuji X Pro series, and I still am. So I thought, hey, a silver one, that is a real rangefinder. Let's find out what they mean with a rangefinder and a real rangefinder. So I bought a Leica M8 from Portugal for very, very little money. I paid less than €1,000, which is... you can't find a digital Leica today at this price. At least a not broken one. So the first thing I noticed when I got the Leica is, okay, this doesn't feel anything like a digital camera. It feels exactly like an analog camera. It's, I don't know, it just feels analog. And it's something I experienced with all the Leica M models. It doesn't matter if it's the M8, M9, M10, 240, the 222, 262, and they're all the same. They all feel exactly like an analog camera. They have a heft on it. They have a... It's just great German quality, as you would expect from a German manufacturer that costs so much. Well, I took the Leica out and took pictures of my children, of my vacations, and never really thought about using the Leica professionally. When I suddenly noticed that when going out I never picked up a Fuji again. I was always picking the M8. And even though I got great cameras at home, I had the X-T2, the X-H1, I had the Canon R, I had, I don't know, a bunch of cameras. And every time I went out with my family, I just picked up the M8. The M8 just felt like my camera, my personal one. It's, I don't know, just a feeling. And so it came that suddenly I had a paid shooting with a friend of mine, Jens, and his pregnant wife back then. And I thought, hey, why not try it with the M8? And we did. We went out shooting. I had my flight case with the Fujis back in my car, but I did not open it. I shot the complete shooting with the M8. And the big surprise came when I came home. Well, I looked at the pictures, and the first time I loaded in the pictures in Lightroom, I saw that I only took 74 pictures. And I was in shock. I was... I screwed up something. Something went terribly wrong. I shot for 2 or 3 hours and the only thing I got were 74 pictures. Well, there were 73 great pictures. I had 73 perfect shots. The one shot that was not perfect, the wasted one, was one that I accidentally pressed the shutter button when I put the camera down, so okay. It's a lost one. Well, I noticed something very strange. First, I loved the look. The pictures just look different. It's not that full frame look or the bright aperture look. It's something different. These pictures, these images just spoke to me. They were very special. And okay, maybe it's the lens. But there was another thing with the M8 that I noticed. I love shooting film, and when I review my analog pictures, I'm always remember every frame, something I don't do in digital. Yeah, I look at the pictures and remember that I've taken them, but I don't necessarily remember every single shot. On the analog side, I remember every picture because it took my time. I took my time to take this picture. I watched the whole scene, and I remember so many things that are not seen in this picture. So for instance, I often remember what else happened around the frame. I remember how it smelled there, what I was hearing back then. And all these pictures are very, very, those photos are special to me. There are something, yeah, something special. And that's the funny thing. I noticed the same thing when taking pictures with a Leica. It's not necessarily the M8. After the M8, I had and still have the M9. I had the M10, the M10P, the M9P, and now I got the MD 262. And it's something that all Leicas share, at least to me, that it feels, it doesn't just feel like shooting an analog camera, but the experience after the shooting is the same as analog. And this is something very special. After the shooting with my friend and his pregnant wife, I started to do every paid work I could with the Leica. So I had a project with a musician hereby, a very good friend of mine, Vasi, and we started to make a photo series of various things. And for the first time, I needed a better camera than the M8. And it could have been so easy that I had a bunch of Fujis at home. I just could have taken one of them, took my pictures, and voila, here they are. But I wanted, something was telling me that I need to do this with Leica. I see the world in a different way when shooting a Leica than with any other camera. So I sold every Fuji I got, except one, the X Pro one. It's still here. I sold all my Fuji cameras. I sold nearly all lenses I got, nearly everything I got to buy a Leica M10 and a 50mm 1.2 from Voigtlander, an awesome lens, the best lens I've ever seen. I still got it. And yeah, continued my photographic journey with Leica. And I changed. I realized that my pictures look different. Not only because of the look and that the lens or the camera is so special. That's one thing, and they are special indeed, and they feel analog, yeah, and I love analog shooting, yes. And I feel just like shooting film when shooting digital and on a paid job. But I realized that I see the world in a different way. So, how is that possible? When looking through a conventional camera, it doesn't matter if it's a mirrorless or a DSLR, you're looking through your lens. So you have one eye closed and look through your lens. That means you are the camera, you see what the camera sees. And now that's the difference with Leica. When I'm taking my Leica to my eye, I still got both eyes open. And I can focus on something while having both eyes open. So I see what I'm focusing at, what I'm aiming at, and what I'm going to shoot. But I have the other eye seeing the complete frame. That means I feel like kind of cyborg, that I have a special glass on me that just puts in a frame somewhere. I see what I see and I have a frame and I just take a picture. And if you understand photography and how a lens works and how an aperture works, it's easy to understand what you're going to do. And this changed my complete perspective as a photographer. I started to see things different. The Leica was the first camera that never left me. I was, no matter where I go, my Leica is always with me. And to be honest, it's not about the brand name. And I was talking to a friend recently and he told me, mate, these are just names. You're like BMW, and just like my wife loves her Louis Vuitton bags or something, this is why you love Leica, because they're expensive. No. Leicas are expensive AF. That's clear. We all know that. But there is more than just the price. It's the only, Leica is the only brand that has a real digital rangefinder. There is no alternative to Leica. So if you're shooting, for instance, if you're shooting a Canon R, you could also use a Nikon Z. They are slightly different, but they function the same way as a Sony A7 functions. And yes, they have different features and performances, okay, but they're all kind of the same system, yeah. But a rangefinder, a true digital rangefinder, can only be found at Leica. So well, I realized that I started to use different focal lengths than before. My go-to focal length was always 50mm and still is, but Leica made me go for 35 or maybe 28mm, and I started to see my photography in a different way. These are more than just pictures. It's like freezing a moment in time in your life. It may sound very strange, but those pictures and those images feel very, very different to me than any other picture I've taken with any other camera. So, like I said, the rangefinder system can only be found at Leica, at least for digital cameras. And there's a phrase I hear quite often and find terribly wrong. A lot of people tell me that, oh, guy, mate, one day I will go one step further and go to the next step and buy a Leica. And I hear this from so many photographers that are shooting with their Sonys or with their Fujifilms. Mostly the Fujifilm guys are the ones that would like to have a Leica, but yeah, it costs a little. But they don't want to pay the full price, but they're able to to pay 2,000 euros for a X100, I don't know. Well, doesn't matter. I don't think that the rangefinder system is for everyone. Don't get me wrong, I don't think that it's something special and you have to be whatever just to be able to use this, no. But I don't think that Leica is necessarily the goal, the aim everybody aims to someday I will own a Leica. One thing that's for sure, I'm pretty sure, or correct, let's say I think that every photographer should use a Leica once and try out a Leica and see how it feels like and understand this spirit behind this brand and this way of shooting and this way of cameras, of the rangefinder. It's a must for every photographer not to own a Leica. What I'd like to know is, how are you thinking about it? Are you a Leica shooter? Write it in the comments. How was your way to Leica? Can you relate to the things I say, or do you see this whole Leica thing in a complete different perspective? I'd like to know your opinion, guys. Write it in the comments. And yeah, that's for today. Thank you for staying with me. Hit me up, and till next time. Bye.